What's going on, Algebra 1? We are moving on to literal equations. So literal equations, we are solving for a variable that doesn't have an exact answer. There's letters in the answer. We'll see that later. Let's solve this literal equation for y. So we start with negative 13 equals 1/4 a y cubed. Just the y is cubed, not the a. Remember, fractions are division, and we have multiplication signs that are imaginary between all three of these. When we solve this, we'll be using reverse PEMDAS because we're solving for a variable, just like we did the last couple of weeks. So first thing we want to get rid of is this fraction, and since it's multiplied to everything else, we're going to divide, but fractions are division, so we can actually multiply by a fraction. Multiplication and division are pretty much the same thing, especially with fractions. Same operation, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So since the fraction is 1/4, we are going to multiply by 4/1 because now they cancel with a 4 on top and a 4 on bottom, a 1 on top, a 1 on bottom. They cancel again, multiplication, division, whatever you want to think, whichever way. Right here, it's the same idea. Whatever we do to one side, we got to do the other. So we are going to multiply by 4/1, which is the same thing as 4, right? If we divide anything by 1, it's just itself. So 4 times negative 13 is negative 52. What's left over here? A times y cubed. Remember, only the y is cubed. So we want to get y by itself, just like we set up here. So we're going to divide by a. The a's will cancel. Divide by a. We literally just write this. It's okay not to simplify anything. You literally just write it. So now we have negative 52 over a equals y cubed. The opposite of cubed is the cube root. So we're going to build our house. Little 3 on the roof. On both sides, that's the cube root. And now the cube root and the cube cancel, so y is by itself right here. And then we literally just write our answer, just like this, on my desk, underneath the paper clips. Our second example, we are going to solve for b. We have 12 equals 3a minus 4b. We want to get b by itself, so that's the last thing that we will use. 3a right here, this is a positive, there's an imaginary plus, so we're going to subtract 3a. The reason we didn't divide is because these two objects are separated by a plus or minus, by addition or subtraction. So we're going to subtract 3a because the 3a is positive. Now we got to do that to both sides. So now we have 12 minus 3a. I wrote that here in blue. There's an imaginary multiplication between the negative 4 and the b. Divide by negative 4. Have to divide everything by negative 4. A positive divided by a negative is a negative. 12 divided by 4 is 3. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. And then 3/4 a. We just simply write that in a fraction. And our last example right here, we're going to solve x equals 1/3 times parentheses y minus z. But now we have some values for x and z, so we're just going to plug them in. X equals 1, so where the x is, I'm going to plug in a 1. Z equals 4, so where the z was, I'm going to plug in a 4. So now we have 1 equals 1/3 times y minus 4. Want to get rid of the fraction. Fractions are division, so let's multiply by the reciprocal. So 3/1. 3/1, that's just 3. So 3 times 1 is 3. These fractions just cancel because they're reciprocal. They're flipped. They're the opposite of each other on top and bottom. Now the y minus 4 is by itself, trying to get y. Add 4 to both sides, and y equals 7.